My secret, just do something that ain't nobody ever done before, but make it sound like something that's always been there forever.
Welcome to This Filipino American Life, a podcast that explores the nuanced experiences of Filipinos in the United States at iba pa. My name is Elaine Delalas, and I'm joined by my fellow hosts,
Ryan Carpio,
Joe Bernardo,
and
Mike,
producer Mike.
Horn.
Horn. Hey guys, how's it going?
What up?
What's up?
How are you doing? It's going.
Yeah.
This is going to come out in February. Got any fun February plans?
You know, do some stuff like celebrate President's Day and Valentine's Day and
in a basement
and
Black History Month.
Black History Month.
You know, because that's what you do in February.
Yeah,
The norm.
The normal.
Shorten it up a little bit. You know.
How about watch some TV?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, I watch TV all the time. I really am a fan of this show, The Good Place.
The Good Place?
Do you like that show?
Me and Girly binge watched it, I think, around Christmas time or Thanksgiving.
It's so good,
It's really good.
Yeah. One of my favorite characters is not a main character. He's like a side character. His name's Pillboi.
Pillboi.
Pillboi?
Pillboi?
Pillboi. Pili. And he's played by actor Eugene Cordero.
You.
Cordero.
Yeah, Cordero.
Oh, we're going to do
that? So he's today's guest.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Isn't it?
Yes.
We'll
Looking
ask
forward to
him
having
things about growing up in Detroit, how it's like to be an actor,
Be an improv actor.
being an improv actor, and what else, Mike?
Mike's looking like, where?
Obviously I'm not an improv actor, so I
Improvise.
can't do anything.
That's not a yes and answer, Michael.
But yeah, Eugene Cordero, he's an awesome guy. And we're going to interview him on this episode.
Yeah, and check him out on all his cool new shows like Black Monday on Showtime and this new show Tacoma that's going to come out in the spring or fall or whenever he says in the interview that you will hear after the ad.
Hey, Ryan, do you have any extra dollars?
I'm hungry, actually. I don't have any extra dollars for you, Joe.
What are you going to use it then for?
I'm thinking of giving my extra dollars to TFAL's Patreon account.
Wait, TFAL has a Patreon account?
Yeah,
Patreon.com/TFAL podcast.
that's right. Patreon.com/TFAL podcast. If you want to help TFAL continue its great quality work, you can contribute some money to us monthly. Go to patreon.com/TFAL podcast and you can give your extra dollars to us.
Hey, Joe, how much does your internet cost?
Hey,
A lot.
I don't know. I have to ask Girly.
Hey, Mike, how much does this equipment cost?
A lot.
Hey, Ryan, how much does your brain cost?
That's all I have. As you can see, we spend money to produce this free programming to you, and we could use your help. So find us on patreon.com/TFAL podcast and see if you can help us out.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're back.
Yay!
I hope you enjoyed that ad.
Buy us a coffee.
Buy us a coffee, become a Patreon like our T-Pal Kyle, and buy merch at the What a Maneuver store from Rep Your City if you live in the Bay, Los Angeles, Seattle, San Diego. Where else?
Boston?
Chicago.
I don't think we have a commercial for that yet.
Oh, we don't? Well, this is the commercial for it right now. But yeah, we are excited to have our special guest for today.
Oh my gosh.
Who's our special guest for today, Ryan?
Oh my gosh, it's Eugene Cordero.
What?
Yeah.
I'm late to the air horn.
Oh, wow.
We're really high tech here.
Yeah.
We're
Eugene Cordero.
super
I didn't
high-tech.
realize that was gonna just be on an iPhone like that.
Yeah, that's
On your microphone.
yeah, that's how we do here.
That's great.
Cordero.
I mean, I would prefer to have a machine that I could
there's so many
trigger.
machine stuff over there that I would assume that there would have been.
She refuses. She
No.
wants to keep it in the,
Because if he had the air horn there, he'd never touch it.
Yeah.
Because Mike hates it.
Got it.
But we,
Love
aka
it.
me,
Yeah.
love it.
Don't you love this setup though? Like Mike's setup.
I do.
for This. If you guys can ever see this, we'll take a picture of it and snap
Sure,
it. But
I know.
it is intense.
I I just want to make sure we're prepared for all contingencies.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is
You know,
why.
and
This
that
is why
we're
we love Mike
professional.
because he has a camera in there. I don't know. What the
I think
camera's
there's
there.
a lot of wires that are going nowhere. I think they're fake wires just to like throw us off his scent of how little he's doing.
Going in circles.
Yeah. It's all going into one channel.
Yeah.
It's really just my phone. I'm pressing record and recording the room like this.
I don't even know why we're wearing these headphones and this
You're not plugged in anywhere. It was
It's probably like one microphone up here.
All right. Eugene Cordero.
Hey.
Cordero ng
Oh,
Diyos
no.
Wow.
ng aali
What is that?
na mga kasalanan ng sanlibutan.
Come on, Ryan.
It's a
that?
church song.
Oh.
It's Lamb of
Lamb
of God.
Lamb of God, yeah.
Do you remember that song?
I do remember that song growing up. Yeah,
He's like,
and it was
bro.
no, but it was one of those that I heard as a kid and went like, oh, well, my mom would always, nudge me when it was like, I was like, yeah, I know, I hear our last name. I get it, but I think it was like for me to pay attention also. I think it was a lot of nudging to wake me up or make me pay attention to what's
Mike
happening.
obviously didn't pay attention in church.
No,
why
we didn't have
yeah.
like Tagalog in our masses.
That's why they have the bells for Mike. Jesus is up there.
He's watching you all the time. Yeah. Well, so we have a few questions.
Okay.
Well, like just ask you softballs. Like, what was it like growing up in Detroit, in the Detroit area?
Detroit.
The Detroit metro area.
Great
Yeah.
intro.
And were you always the funny one growing up?
Got it.
Easy questions like
yeah,
that.
You grew
yeah.
up in Detroit.
I grew up outside of Detroit, in like the Pontiac, Rochester area. But like I had a lot of, like our crew, like all of my folks, friends and family were all over the Detroit area. So we went all over the place. But I grew up with just like a small group of Filipinos that we were with. Like there wasn't like a real like community. There wasn't like a Filipino town or anything.
Yeah.
that I would run into anybody that we didn't already know. Like there was like a like a PBA that we would play like other basketball teams.
Oh, nice.
When I was in high school and stuff. But I wasn't very good at basketball. I wanted to be great. My sister was great, but I wasn't very good. So I guess I got more into theater and like acting instead. Because I was OA growing up.
Yeah.
Oh, so like your mom would tell you that, or your
Yeah. I was always running around. I always talked to strangers growing up, and so my mom and my aunts would always tell me to stop talking to strangers.
especially like in the 80s,
Oh yeah,
like stranger danger.
stranger danger was a thing. So instead, the way that I dealt with it is I walked up to people and introduced myself.
Yeah, that's exactly how you.
So
should
then
do it.
I
You're no
introduced-
longer strangers.
Yeah. So then they were no
Yeah.
longer strangers, and I would keep talking to them.
Yeah.
Like as a child.
As a child, yeah. Yeah, it was dangerous. I think I was just a very social kid.
yeah.
Like I'm trying to picture a small child
Yeah.
going up to a grown up, being like, "Hello, my name is Eugene.
Yeah.
How are you today?"
Well, I was my middle name is Matt. So I went by Matty Boy.
Oh my God, you're one of those Filipinos that goes by their middle name.
Yeah. and became a boy also. I was Matty Boy. So now I'm Tito Boy too. Like
Oh, yay!
I was
fulfill your
wondering how that
destiny.
happened. I was like, how do you become a Tito Boy? It doesn't make sense. At some point,
There's like this epiphany
Yeah.
like music. Oh,
at some point you'd figure you'd have to get mad. Man, don't call me boy. I'm like Uncle Boy. That's crazy. But I guess it just happened. So yeah, I was Matty Boy. So I'd introduce myself as Matty Boy to like random white people at like a mall or a Sears or something.
This is so dangerous.
Yeah,
Or that guy in the van.
yeah, or that guy in the van.
With all the candy.
Yeah. I didn't even want the candy. I was like, I'll just
I
take
wanna
this.
talk.
Yeah, I'll take the friendship.
Let's just have a conversation.
Yeah. So I did a lot of that. So I think I was a very talky kid, and I would get in trouble in school for talking too much, but never causing trouble. Like no real trouble, just kind of like
Class
yapping my
clown?
mouth.
Class clown?
I don't know if I wouldn't say class clown as much as just like a
Social.
social dude. Yeah, I would joke around somewhat, but like it's hard. I mean, growing up with a community of like our small community of Filipino people, like the barkada that we had, like it was hard to know who was funny.
Yeah.
because everybody was just funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody was funny. So I didn't think of myself as a class clown. It was just kind of like, no, this is how
probably-
crazy my family is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So you don't like really see yourself as like funnier than anybody else in your family or your extended family because everybody did crazy shit.
When you would go over to like your friends' places who weren't Filipino and they weren't like just going off. Like
you
would
mean where when dinners were quiet?
Yeah, you're like,
yeah.
what's happening?
Yeah, I was just like, I would just go with the flow and be like, huh, okay. I mean, it was boring.
I love the pass the rules, please pass.
Pass.
Go get it yourself.
Yeah. Pass the rolls. What do you mean we have to like? And then they like kind of start up a conversation
Yeah.
like, hey, so what did you guys?
Yeah.
It's like, why you have to start that? Like we can't just continue the conversation that you would have when you're bringing the rice to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
And then talk about that for another 45 minutes. And it was also weird to like eat a meal and not talk about what the next meal was gonna be.
Right. That's my favorite pastime.
Yeah.
That is Ryan's.
Yeah. I'm eating like Korean barbecue and I'm like, dude, wouldn't sushi be good like tomorrow?
Yeah. We were in the middle of eating really good food here. And I was like, hey, so like it's so easy.
Like everything is an appetizer
Yeah.
to the next meal.
So good.
Oh man,
Dangerous.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's why we all have high blood pressure.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
also why
High
we're so happy.
cholesterol.
Yeah.
It's true. That's true. Very, very happy people.
Yeah.
So you got into kind of the theater and arts.
I did in high school.
Yeah.
But that's because like I went to an all boys like private high school.
What?
Yeah.
So
That's
did
weird.
Ryan.
I did too.
You're a little too excited about that.
Private boys school.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
Boys. No, it was more like a camaraderie thing, more than the excitement for an all boys. This is so weird.
No. No, we get it. We
We'll
get it.
edit this in post.
No.
No, we won't.
No, we'll
we
hold
won't.
on to this.
Yeah.
Mike's not doing anything.
He's
Going full raw.
taking
Don't
photos.
you realize this is live?
This is a live stream episode, so whatever you say.
Mike has like a ton of cameras on the table, and he's taking photos of us through his phone. It's great. Anyway,
But yeah, went to an all boys school, and then like the all girls school was like literally across the street. So the theater program was over there. So
Yeah.
that's
Oh, so
right.
it's an excuse to go.
So it was an excuse to go over there, and also at this school and in Michigan, like I said, there wasn't that many other Filipinos that I knew, and the ones that went to my high school were good at sports. So then they were like in sports. So
like all sports or
no, like the
football or
basketball team or the
basketball?
football team or the
Okay.
wrestlers. Like there was a mix, but they were definitely jocks.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I'm not that. So then I got into theater. Also, my sister, who was a year ahead of me in school, and she was at the all-girls school, was already varsity everything.
Oh.
So she was like the...
So she had got all the expectations.
She had all the... Yeah, so she had it all, and she had auditioned for the play her freshman year and didn't get the show. So then I was like, "Ooh, let me try the thing that my sister hasn't done yet." And then I tried it, and it felt like a natural fit once I started doing it, and I loved it, and it was like it was fun for me. And then I was just like hooked to doing theater and acting and stuff. And then and then it was like junior or senior year of high school that I went to New York and started and saw like comedy and got into it. Yeah.
How did your parents react to like?
They hated it.
I'm like, oh, this sounds about right.
Yeah, they hated. You know, I mean, you know, they didn't come here for me to be a
to play
actor.
around.
Yeah, to just like gallivant around.
Yeah.
Also familiar sounding.
Yeah, gallivanting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was a V until I was in high school.
But you had to spell it.
When I said it to like a bunch of white people, I was like, they were like, "What do you guys want to do?" I was like, "Can we just like kind of just gallivant around?" They're like, "Gallivant? What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Well, okay. I mean, if you guys don't use that phrase," they're like, "No, I don't even think that's a word."
Let's look it up.
Yeah. Oh, that's a V. That makes sense. But yeah, they were just not. It wasn't something that.
How did your parents in like that community even get to Detroit?
Yeah, that's a good question.
My folks met in Michigan.
Oh.
My dad moved from Iloilo with his
We pointed
brother.
to Mike because he talks about it all the time.
Oh, nice.
He's from there. His parents are
Ew.
Yeah.
They're there right now, in fact, because it's February.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's he came with his brothers and their kids, and they were moving there because my dad was like a chemical engineer and stuff, and
Sorry, Mike is like putting together contraption as you're
Stop paying
talking.
attention to me.
It's really confusing.
I mean, I think he's creating a transformer. There's a good chance that there will be a some kind of
Robot at the end.
robot at the end of this.
Okay,
Yep, and it's happening. It's literally happening. There's going to be a moving robot in a moment.
So your parents, or your dad came from Iloilo.
Yeah, so he came from there, and he moved to Michigan, and he was a chemical engineer, so he started working for one of the Budweiser plant that was in Michigan.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he got his fill of beer.
Yeah, so he got his fill of beer. Yeah, and he was loving it. The Stroh's plant first, and then it became the Budweiser plant. But so he was there, and then my mom is from Ilocos Norte, and she moved to Canada first with her girlfriends. And then they had a bunch of mutual friends right over the water there. And then they came down.
And they were like, oh, it's warmer.
Yeah. They were like, oh, it's warmer.
By 1 degree.
By 1 degree.
And better. And then they met just through mutual friends that,
Wow.
that became like, the aunts and uncles that I was traumatized to find out they weren't blood related.
Yeah.
Like all of that.
Mike.
Yeah. Like so many of the cousins I had growing up were like, found out like, oh, so who's related to who? I'm like, I don't know. We're all. They're like, no, we're not blood related.
We traveled
What?
together.
Oh my God, this
Surprise.
is exactly like Mike.
Yeah.
So you grew up in a very tight-knit Filipino community in a place that isn't very Filipino.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, you pretty much knew everybody, right?
Yeah. I mean, within that community. So then it was, and there was only so many of us. So, we were really close. Everybody was basically a family. And then there was like the extended, like because of the basketball teams and that community, there was still more out there, but it everybody kind of stayed within like their cliques.
Where
and,
do
like,
you
their
get
family.
Filipino food?
I'm pretty sure there is.
No. See, the reason I asked this is because when I was a kid, there wasn't Filipino grocery stores.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so like you had to like look for the market.
Yes.
And before there was a Filipino market, my parents actually would go to like a Thai market. They would go to Sanam Luang in North Hollywood, and they would go to the Banglock. And so they would go there. So I'm like, in Michigan,
Yeah.
where would they get like the stuff to make Filipino food.
There was like a couple of
Oriental stores?
Oriental stores,
Am
yeah.
I right?
Yeah, there was a couple of Oriental stores that I think were owned by Filipino families who then also sold other things so that they could stay in business.
Yeah.
Got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was a couple of those, and you would go out of your way to go there, or it'd be on the way home from the hospital.
Right.
For a lot of the
okay.
moms, so then they would buy for everybody in bulk, kind of thing.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Like they put in orders.
Put in
like,
orders, yeah,
I
yeah,
need like
yeah.
all these lumpia wrappers. I'm
Right.
having a party, and
Exactly.
they like clean it out.
Right. And they would they would handle it that way, and
Fascinating.
have the freezer full of stuff.
Like
Yeah.
with the extra, like the garage fridge.
Yeah, the garage fridge with like the lumpia's already made and frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ready to
Already
go.
rolled up.
So
Ready to go.
we're from California, obviously, but what is a Filipino basement like?
It's all right because you don't
so
have a basement
confusing.
No,
What?
okay, sorry. So there are basements like
in Michigan.
in Michigan.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, is there a specific kind of use for the Filipinos use the basement for? Because like if you see like in movies they use it
Yeah.
as game rooms.
Oh.
or something,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What do Filipinos use
Can I
basements
guess?
for?
I want to guess.
Yeah, good. Please guess.
Is it where you put all your hoarding?
Yes.
I want to guess. I want to guess too. It's where the ghosts are.
Mike, what's your guess?
That it's also just another room to like stick your guests in.
Wow, that was boring.
I know.
For someone who created a transformer before our eyes.
My guess is where you keep all the stuff before you put it in the balikbayan.
Oh, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of
Hoarding
those.
room.
Yeah, a lot of those boxes.
Okay.
A lot of storage, but then it was also where the kids watch TV.
Yeah.
It was like where we all hung out. Wow. Or we all hung out, like all the kids hung out in like the living room to like the family room to like watch TV, and then the basement was mahjong.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't you wish you had a basement, Joe?
I know. We could watch all the Boomba down there.
Gross.
All the bull.
All the bold movies.
You're so weird. But dude, we should.
But dude, get a basement so we can do that.
Hurry.
I'll start digging right now.
I was gonna say Joe's asking because he's an academic, so he wants to know all the features of Filipino American life.
Yeah.
Not where like we watch the bomba. Apparently, so.
Wow, is this what your new book's going to be about? Where to watch bomba?
I imagine
Around the country.
I actually, when you were asking the question, I knew exactly what you meant because we have this. We are from California, and every time we watch a TV show, it's like, dude, imagine if you had a basement. Why do I not have a
Yeah.
basement where I can hang out with my pals? you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I didn't think that. Sorry.
Sorry,
'Cause
I wasn't articulate in my answer. It was just like my brain thinking out loud.
No, because I was like, that's what the family room's for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't get as it keeps all of the volume at bay.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
'cause it's underneath.
Like underneath. So if there's a big mahjong thing going on,
Yeah.
then
And the ghosts can't go up there.
yeah.
They're subterranean.
You have to invite them, right?
Yeah.
And then they can come upstairs.
It's too high for them.
They're all
They have to stay very low.
Oh my god.
Like, and then in mahjong, like that's what garages are for. In
Yeah, for
California,
us,
like,
yeah.
that's
but
what we do.
We couldn't do that because it gets
was
too
too
cold.
cold.
Yeah. So you never have anything. Only thing in your garages were oranges.
Wait, what?
Oranges?
You get at my grade school and my high school, like the thing that you would sell, like to like raise money for the school was oranges.
What?
Yeah, from Florida, oranges and grapefruits.
What? What?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Not world's finest chocolate.
world's
Yeah,
Chocolate?
not chocolates, right? So
I'm learning something right now.
So then we would sell oranges at my school, and we'd pack them all into the garage, and then in the winter they'd all be really cold or frozen, and were
man.
even better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah,
I'm so fascinated right now.
I am
Because we have
too.
so many oranges.
yeah,
That wouldn't even work
I'm
here.
like, dude, I give them away.
yeah.
I have a
Exactly.
tree.
That's why I think it's a big thing there. Because if it was here, it's like, hi, I'm selling oranges for my high school. It's like, yeah, I've got 2 trees in my backyard. Move,
like-
punk.
I would be like, I'm gonna go down the street and buy it for $1 from the dude.
Yeah,
selling
exactly.
it.
Instead of some kid selling it door to door, they would assume that I was like trying to rob their house. Because a fake solicitor.
Wow.
God, we're such LA hicks. What do you do with basements? You guys sell oranges?
I know, seriously. We totally
Hey, I'm
But we're
gonna
learning.
fully acknowledge this because
have to, yeah.
we have to. I mean, I freaked out when I saw Mathis Brothers for the first time in real life when we were in Rancho Cucamonga.
Oh.
So I was like, it's not just a commercial.
Yeah,
I get like that when I see a Golden Corral
sure.
Sonic.
and a Sonic.
Oh, Sonic, yeah.
yeah.
I
If
didn't
I
have
ever
that
see a
growing up.
Ruby Tuesday, I probably would pull over and take a picture.
Went to like Waffle House for the first time last month.
That was amazing.
Have you been to a White Castle?
Yeah.
In
Well, not
Vegas.
here.
Oh,
but,
in Vegas,
And
yeah.
I went to Nashville and I've had it.
Yeah, that's a big Michigan thing.
It's a good drunk food.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's not a
amazing
good
junk food.
sober food.
It's not
No,
a good
it's
sober
not.
food
No,
at
no,
all. No.
No.
It's not a good food.
I don't know if it really is food.
No.
Unless you want to sponsor us, White Castle, then you are great.
Oh, man. If you guys got a White Castle sponsorship,
that would be so awesome.
it'd be so great, but you
Brown
guys would
Castle.
be done quick. Yeah.
What if White Castle did like a collabo with like Pomona and it was like a longanisa White Castle?
This is way better.
Oh, sorry. Good.
I'm like, where are you going with this? This is awesome.
Like you put it together.
Yeah. Steamed buns with. Yeah, makes sense. Somebody will do it.
Oh, we're such fatties. We're always going to talk about food.
Somebody's going to do
So
it.
what's the next meal, guy?
Yeah, right?
So after Detroit,
Yeah.
you
I moved to New York.
moved to New York.
Yeah.
Or no, you didn't go to college.
I went to New York for college.
Oh, got it.
So long story short, my folks were not happy about me pursuing acting, and my senior year of high school, my part of my high school's theater program does a trip to New York to see a bunch of Broadway shows. Like you can go as like a trip, and I went.
And then you stayed.
Well, I set up auditions for college for like NYU and a bunch of theater schools there while I was there on that trip and auditioned without my parents knowing.
Were you one of many who did that, or were you just like, I'm just
well,
gonna go for it?
Yeah, I wasn't. Like they encourage you. I mean, smart people to not pursue acting in general because it's just hard and sad and a lot of no's and all that stuff. So, you don't really want to pursue it as like a career. So, they weren't pushing too many people to do it, but I was really driven to try. So, I set up all of my auditions while I was there for that senior trip.
That's awesome.
And then my folks got a phone call from like a school saying that I got accepted, and they were like, "Oh, well, he didn't apply there." So
Oh,
it doesn't
no.
matter. And it's like, no, he did, and
Why did they call? Don't they just send
Well,
you the
'cause he's
big
a minor.
envelope?
Well, because it was because it was for the theater program. It was to accept me into. I already got accepted into the school.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it was directed to
And
the
then
program.
it was the theater program. And
long
then,
before email.
Yeah. So then they did the call, and then they were like, "Well, how can we have your son come to the school?" Blah blah blah. And my folks were like, "Oh, you have to make it as affordable as Michigan State is, or whatever, like the locals, like the where my sister was going." And I went out there to do like a second audition for scholarships, and and they somehow my parents went in. I auditioned for the scholarships. I remember going to New York with my parents. They're pissed the whole time we were there.
Oh man.
And then I go in and I audition, and then they call my parents in, and then my parents walk out, and they're like, "Okay, you're gonna go here."
Oh, because they
okay.
told them that
They-
you got it? The
And then
scholarship,
I'm sure my parents were hard selling them of like how much it would cost her.
Yeah.
So I got put on some, on some like theater scholarships and stuff
That's
to make
awesome.
it work.
Did you have to like work study and all that
No,
stuff? No.
no. It was a school that treated theater like sports.
Yeah. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
man. That's
So it was like a liberal arts college that was like very
Oh my
theater and
God.
dance.
You're living the dream that so
Seriously.
many Filipino Americans have
Yeah.
to live.
Yeah. I mean, and I my older sister was very supportive of my career. I was also a kid that like I would have fun and joke around, but I wasn't somebody that asked for many. Like I didn't.
You're self-sufficient.
Yeah, I wasn't really focused on that many things, and that was one of those things where they could tell that I was.
You were
That
into
was your
this. This is
thing.
what you're.
Yeah.
My mom wanted me to be an actor.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
She did?
My mom wanted me to be an actor.
And you broke her heart?
No, I'm not good at it.
You just act up.
Yeah, I just act
Yeah.
up. Like I'm totally opposite of that story. I'm just like loud and obnoxious for no reason. There's no craft in anything that I do. But my mom really wanted me to. Moms are always proud, I guess.
Yeah.
But she wanted me to be out there, so I
It's
did
'cause
some
you're the
auditions. and
bunso,
stuff
you're
like,
the baby.
commercial auditions. That's probably the other reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, this is weird.
She wanted you to go out for auditions?
Yeah, I actually
Wow.
did. I auditioned
You
for like,
did?
commercials. Yeah.
Were you actually?
I talked about this before.
Were you in a commercial
No.
for Bomba?
Wow. That's too much.
That's not a
Mike.
commercial.
As a child? No.
Yeah. Yeah, so they finally started supporting it once I started doing some stuff. But even then, they didn't get it.
Yeah. Because it's different when you're like performing at Christmas to get presents.
Yeah.
Like that is like, oh, you're expected to do that.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Right?
I had to sing. I mean, I did sing a lot.
Yeah.
Growing up, and you sing at Christmas. and
But like
stuff,
that's
yeah.
self-contained
Right.
in your family
Yeah.
bubble. They
Yeah.
they don't think like, oh, you're gonna make a career.
Well,
out of that.
everybody is equally talented, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, but really, like some people are better than others.
Yeah, but not really. Everybody's just kind of like equally Filipino talented. So, like, but I mean, that's what happened once I started working regularly. It was like all about, oh, well, this person wants to do it too. Help this person.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I'll try.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's
this is
happen.
something I worked for all
Yeah,
my
yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you just do SNL? It's like,
Oh, 'cause
just
it's so
do it?
easy.
I guess I could just. Yeah, you know what? I am struggling right now. Let me just do the one comedy show that everybody's trying to do.
So you went to school in New York.
Yeah.
And then you got into improv?
Yeah. I
Okay.
started doing stuff at UCB and the Upright Citizens Brigade in New York. And this other theater called Chicago City Limits, which was like short form improv. And I just got really into the mentality of it and playing with it. And the end result was very funny to me because it was like a lot of when the UCB was when the Upright Citizens Brigade was new in New York and they just did it. They were on Conan a lot as like the sketches, and those were very funny to me. And I was very I really liked their style of teaching and their style of comedy that it connected with me. That I was okay with. It also at the time not being very diverse, at all.
Yeah.
Really.
Were you like the one brown speck?
I was. Yeah, there was like one. There was one other Asian dude, but no other Filipinos really for a while.
You always played the ethnic character?
Yeah, and you kind of. I didn't know how to feel if that was good or bad. I mean, I understood why, after I had done it for a while, I understood why improv in general is hard for minorities or for a while. And now that there's more minorities in it and like there's like Asian AF and Filipino AF and stuff like that, it makes it more mainstream or available so that you're like, oh, I can be funny like these people. But when I was going through it, like, I remember seeing students come through that were Asian, and I'm like, or Filipino even, and being like, why are they not sticking around? Or like even like, African American students or Hispanic students. I'm like, why are they not sticking around? And I'm like, oh, because the base of this art form is the idea of saying yes and to everything, which is like agreeing with somebody and then adding to it,
Right.
and it's hard for us when our whole life growing up, especially in like a white community or even like a African American community, like you're used to hearing, no, you're not like us.
Yeah.
So like, to get praise to do something the same as somebody or to be equal to somebody, you're like, wait a minute. I'm supposed to say yes to this dude who I know for sure would not say yes to me outside of this room.
Right.
Like, it doesn't feel supportive. And then, like, so then it became more about, like, well, if I'm funny, though, if I'm good at this, then they have to respect me for my art. Right. And then that's what it became for me a lot of the time. I mean, that's how it still kind of is like, you know, I want you to think that I'm funny first or good first before you. And maybe that's fucked up. That I was like, oh, you have to think I'm just good first before you think I'm Filipino.
Yeah.
Is that messed up? Does that sound weird?
No. I feel like that goes along.
Just because I think about the like, you know, like now that there's more of us on television, which is awesome. You know, like Manny and Vince and, you know, Renee and Tess and like everybody and that there's more representation, that it's like kind of our duty to like represent the community. And I'm like,
but it's hard because what if you just want to represent you?
yeah. And also it's just like, you know, ultimately it's, I can only represent, you know, what I grew up being or
Your experiences.
and my experiences. Yeah. Cause like people are giving crap to Darren, for, you know, for relating to the side of his life that raised him, you know, or the people that he connected with growing up. And it's like, is that his fault?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird thing too with Darren. It felt like they were only picking upon like one soundbite.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, well, think about the context of it.
Explain. The whole
Remind
process.
us what it was.
So
Chris.
like there was a controversy with Darren Criss in that when he won the Golden Globe, he said that like something to the effect of I could pass as white, which is why.
Oh no, he said that before.
Oh, he said that before.
And then in the Golden Globe, he was thanking his Filipino.
Oh, he
mom.
thanked his mom.
Yeah.
And so some people were like, is he really Filipino? Blah, blah, blah.
Or like they're saying you're only gravitating towards the Filipino side because it's kind of cool right now. Being ethnic and respecting diversity, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, this is just context, right? Like,
Right.
he's an actor, and he could pass as white, which is why he could get roles. Like, good for him. That's like, you use it to your advantage because acting is one of those fields where, like, it's not a meritocracy.
Yeah.
They can, like, straight up say, like, we don't want you because you're Filipino, but we would want you because you're white. So, and it's their prerogative. It's fucked up, but
Yeah.
it's, like, the studio or whoever's prerogative. And I think like for other folks, like they just think like, oh, that's not how it's supposed to be. I'm like, it's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But that's how it is.
I mean, it's ultimately still marketing, right? Like all of it is marketing. It's the same reason why I remember auditioning for commercials and stuff in New York for a long time, and I knew I was going to book a commercial when it was like a beer commercial or a food commercial or something where, or like a car commercial where there was 3 or 4 guys, because I knew I could be guy 3 or guy 4. Yeah. Like at that point, the suits were okay with me being guy 3 or guy 4. But in the reality of the world, you need the first 2 guys to either be 2 white dudes or a white dude and a black dude, or 2 white dudes and then a black dude is the 3rd guy, and then they'll take another,
which
for
is
the
like could
4th
be
guy.
anything.
Which could be anything. Yeah. So being racially and ethnically ambiguous at that time was gold for me. You know, and it wasn't like I wasn't, you know, still rocking, you know, my Filipino flag hat and stuff. But I was just like, but, you know, Budweiser was paying me for, you know, that commercial for 3 months. So it's okay that I have, you know, I mean, it wasn't like I was wearing like a sombrero or something,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so that it's like trying to be completely something else.
Right.
But you know, in sketch shows and stuff,
Yeah,
like
you do.
Yeah, you do.
You do what you do.
And I mean, there's stuff now that like if you, I don't want people who are listening to this to go back and see when I was like not racially insensitive, but like not as
woke.
Yeah. As you know, and going like, oh, I guess I couldn't play Native American because I'm not Native American. You know.
I also think there's a process that people forget. Like you have talked to us about like your process of like really honing in your craft,
Yeah.
understanding kind of where you came from, what neighborhood you came from to what schooling you came from, understanding the athletics of your school to creating your craft as an actor. And a lot of times, man, we just want to be recognized for the craft. And I think a lot of times, especially in the way the media portrays us, this is a recurring theme in our podcast. We get, the responsibility of representation becomes way more than the stuff that you're doing. So what I'm trying to, I guess, convey out there is it's okay that you evolve. It's okay that your past may not have been as woke. Yeah. But that's all part of it. Like, maybe now that you have the platform to be a more responsible Filipino American. Yeah, absolutely. But man, there were probably times when you're like, shit, I just need to get paid. I need a job.
Yeah, sure.
And I think it's also unfair for people to, put these unfair kind of burdens on you to be someone who you're not.
Right.
Right. So, I understand sometimes folks get placed in a position where you have to represent a certain community, but not everyone thinks as like a woke activist.
Right. Right. So, but I do understand as like in a way, the more successful you get as an actor or musician or any kind of entertainment, you become more of a spokesperson for your people, and and a representative of people that they start looking up to you in a certain way. So then, if you do something that is a little off, then people get hurt by it. And like that's too bad. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like you can't control that. But it's like I understand that in a way. I have to be a public figure at times, and you do it.
Do you get the rep sweats? Meaning like,
I still don't know what that is.
Oh, sorry. You get nervous when you have to kind of represent like a community.
You know what? I only I still get the rep sweats.
I've never heard it.
Let me make sure. I love it.
I get the meat sweats.
Yeah.
Sweats.
I get the meat sweats after a Brazilian like one of those Brazilian places.
Or Korean barbecue.
Yeah, Korean barbecue. Yeah. That'll happen. Other than that, not so much. Rep sweats happen. You know what? I get them every time somebody. Well, every time I say I'm Filipino, if it's an older person, they look at me as though I was wrong. Because I might not look as Filipino as.
You sure?
Yeah, like, are you sure? So then they give me the are you sure look, which gives me the rep sweats. Because I'm like, I can't tell you anything. I can't go like, surprise, you're right. And then when they speak Tagalog and I don't, and I have to let them finish and then go, oh, I don't. And then they give me the look of,
no, you're not.
No, you're not. Again. Yeah. And then I walk away. It's just like, that's the tough stuff.
Like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
I feel stupid because I'm actually representing rep sweats wrong.
Oh.
It's actually the feeling of anxiety that comes when watching TV shows or movies starring people who you look like. So it's not you won't get it. It's folks like us who would get it.
Got it.
Seeing you on TV.
I see.
But I think it's transferable too. I think it's a flexible enough term.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, so like I would get rep sweats
when you see Eugene on TV because
like
he
Lea
might be.
Salonga,
Oh, like the cringe factor. Like if I see like a contestant on America's Got Talent that's Filipino, and you're like, please be good.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, that I understand.
Shit, dude, I get that all the time. I didn't know there was a term for it.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
I get
for
that
people.
for beyond Filipinos though. So get that.
Yeah, you just get nervous
I
for
get
people.
nervous. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't like this, and I change the channel.
Yeah.
So what was the leap of faith for you to move to LA?
A lot of my friends from UCB had already made the move, and I was in town, and then a couple of things. I was in New York, and I had auditioned for SNL a couple of times, and that was just like, not necessarily the route. Well, I mean, I didn't get the job, so I guess it's not the route. But also, my one of my best friends got on the show, and was on the show for like almost like, I don't know, 10 seasons, 8 or 9 seasons.
Wow.
And he just moved out here to LA. But right when that happened, we were in a sketch group together, and his name is Bobby Moynihan, and he Drunk Uncle.
Yeah.
So he he got on the show, and then I was just like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do out here. I mean, that's the show that you know of, and like 30 Rock was maybe going on still, but other than that, like everything was still happening in LA, and a lot of my friends were saying, well, I think you would work if you came out here, and I got flown out to audition for like the last season of like Mad TV, I think, and then I took a bunch of other meetings while I was in town, and it just felt like the right time. And I just got engaged, and it was like, well, now's the time for us to just kind of do it.
To like move to LA.
Yeah, move to LA and just kind of switch it up and see what that has for us. And we did it. And I think like, we struggled for a little while, but ultimately we had a Upright Citizens Brigade Theater here already.
The one on Franklin?
The one on Franklin, when I moved, and like they already had me. I was already teaching at the New York one.
Oh, so you had like a gig here.
I kind of had a gig.
Cool.
So, and my friends who had moved, we were excited to like do a show regularly. So they just threw me in their group, and so I assimilated pretty well.
And then you're like, oh my God, it's warm.
And then I was
all
like,
the time.
it's warm. And then there was
And no basements.
no
There's
basement. So I was like, oh great, no kids. No, and it felt better. It felt better, like lifestyle wise, to like what I liked, anyways. And then the work started happening, and then like I don't know. And I think the representation, like having so many Filipinos around, because I lived in Jackson Heights, Queens, when I was in New York, and like Woodside, Queens just opened a Jollibee.
Oh yeah.
Just happened when I was living there.
Nice.
And
the lines around
the line was around the block, and I'm like, where are all these people?
Yeah.
Like, where did you come
Where
from?
do you live? Do you live in this area? And like everybody just kind of is like hiding out being Filipino in New York, or it just kind of assimilates to being New Yorkers. Right. So like you just don't relate, and you kind of have a focused mind in New York to just kind of do your thing. Where here there was like a representation, and also just like historic Filipino town and all that stuff. Where you were just like, oh, there's a world out here that is like so and then.
And the Jollibee has a drive-through.
Yeah,
you
there's
don't
a
even get out of your car.
there's multiple. Yeah. So it was like all that stuff, and I was just like, oh, this is great, and it just felt better for me culturally, but also just like lifestyle-wise, and then work-wise came pretty well too. So
did you find kind of Filipino community here in LA in the entertainment industry?
Not so. I mean, just me and Renee for a little while, and then
Renee Gube. Right?
Yeah, Renee Gube and I.
You are the second person who's talked about him on this show.
Oh, really?
We had his best friend on earlier, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it's funny. Maybe one day we'll get Renee.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll come on here. Yeah, so me and him would hang out and do shows together. And we got really excited about like doing that kind of thing. And then the community started growing a little bit more and more. And we started seeing more and more at UCB, and then like just the Asian American stuff started happening more at UCB, which was great.
Like the Asian AF.
Asian AF. Will Choi's thing just started happening, and then everybody started coming out. And then when I was just in San Francisco for the Sketch Fest 2 weekends ago, and it's just like such an awesome community up there.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to do the Filipino AF show the week prior, but they said it was packed. But like
It's always sold out. Like
Yeah.
I haven't been.
I haven't been because like by the time I'm like, oh, we should go. I'm like, oh, there's no tickets. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh well.
it sells out so quick.
And it starts at 9. So late.
Yeah.
It's because we're old. We think night is late.
I'm late. I want to go to sleep.
9 does feel late to even do a show. Yeah.
Usually I'd actually be asleep on my couch at 9. So
Yeah. Easy.
So how did you meet Renee, and how did you get into like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend? And all that?
I met Renee from UCB, and we just started doing shows together before Crazy Ex-Girlfriend even started. And then Rachel Bloom and I were actually in a group together at UCB, like a musical improv group. Nice. So we had performed a bunch together prior to that show. Yeah, and then I got a phone call to be on the show.
Nice.
And I mean, I had originally auditioned for Vince's part.
Okay.
So I knew them already, and then
So you hate him.
I didn't know him prior to the show, and I thought he was great.
Yeah.
I think he's great, and he's a nice dude. He's great. So, and that's the way that we like meet anybody is like in the audition room.
Yeah.
Oh, because like if they're looking for Filipino guys, it's like
or Asian
Same
guys.
people, same
yeah,
people, right.
and then I'd meet a bunch of Filipino guys either at Asian auditions or Hispanic auditions. Or Hawaiian auditions.
Who are the other people then? I would like to know.
So it's like the whole
All the Boscos?
Boscos.
Okay.
So it's the Bosco boys.
Got it.
Always there. And then it'd be like me, Renee, and then just a mix of other people that we'd like.
Interesting.
Like past that, it'd be a couple of Hispanic dudes, and then a couple of like Asian dudes that we'd see at like those auditions. And usually
That's interesting because the Boscos have been around for a while.
Yeah.
So like you and Renee are like this new class.
Yeah.
So then will there be like another class like in a couple years?
Maybe. I mean, and Manny Jacinto, he's from Canada, so they just found him out of nowhere.
That's crazy.
He's awesome on The Good Place. And he has become like one of those good buddies of mine too, just from doing shows.
It's-
I have to.
go.
I have to ask you, when you play Pillboi in The Good Place.
Pillboi.
Dip.
Who made up the handshake?
Me. It just said complicated handshake.
Okay.
On the script. So then just me and Manny did it.
That's the best handshake ever.
Yeah. So we just did it there, like 10 minutes before we shot it.
What?
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
No, like kind of.
No, we just talked it
Practice.
through. I think there was Jamila even like recorded us.
So they
practicing
can remember it
Yeah.
later.
Wow.
And we thought it was every step. We were just like, what else could be funny? And then we'd do it, and then we'd add it, and then we just went over it for like 10 minutes.
So speaking of representation, do you feel like that Pillboi and Manny are a good representation of Filipinos? I'm just kidding. I can't even get through the question.
No. I love that question. I mean, because it's like Mitch who plays Donkey Doug,
Yeah, Donkey
me,
Doug.
and Manny. I mean, we're the dumbest human beings.
I love that.
Like the three of us together make one brain, maybe. and I feel like I think it's a good representation
Oh, totally.
of Filipino actors because we don't mention that we're Filipino once.
Yep.
And it's just letting us be funny and stupid.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter. Like if there was ever a joke that said the reason they're like this is because of their heritage, then I think it would be a bad representation of us. But there's not that, and there's no ill will in the way that we're performing it or anything.
It's just hilarious.
It's just fun. Yeah. And I try to keep my eyes open to that kind of stuff when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And so when I auditioned for the Mule, the Clint Eastwood movie, like that in the script says that the character is Filipino, and that the line is like they think he's Mexican, and he goes like, no, I'm Filipino. By the way, I'm Filipino. To like Michael Pena and Bradley Cooper, and I'm just like, and I see that in the breakdown, I'm like, great. And then I read the rest of the scenes, and there's no mention about being Filipino or different
It's
things.
just that moment.
Just that to just go like, hey man, just so you get it right, I'm not what you think I am.
Yeah.
That's it. And I don't have to talk about lumpia, and I don't have to, like, it's not like you were not force feeding the idea that
You're
this
not like
person
coming
is
out
different.
with a balloon.
Right. Yeah, it's not
Like, oh, let me have this whole plate of putsit for me to eat right now.
I mean, those moments in like when like what was it? What's the movie that Rob Schneider did where he has where the Deuce Bigelow, like there's moments where like somebody's eating pancit and all that stuff, and that's just in there as like I think he's trying to represent,
but it doesn't really.
but it's just kind of like, oh, okay, all right, okay, and you're just like, great. I love the effort, and it got past all of the suits to get there.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, but the fact that we're at a place now where we don't even have to deal with
and
it
that's the
is
best
great.
part, right?
Yeah.
The best part is like you get recognized for your craft, and you're Filipino.
Yeah.
But, you know, good.
You know,
That's awesome.
and you know the Filipino stuff that happens in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, it's not mentioned past what you see on a
Right.
Thanksgiving Day table,
Yeah.
which is great. You know, like that's what you ultimately want. Like you want there to be like a family sitcom or just a moment in a movie where you just notice that people have to like take their shoes off when you
Right.
walk into a house.
Yeah.
And they don't make
Like,
a
there's
big
still-
deal.
And they don't make a big deal
Exactly.
of it.
There's still differences, but not. It's not.
It's
just
like
force-fed.
identification without the othering part of it.
Yeah.
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 Wow. Wow.
So, you know, as long as that stuff keeps happening, then I think that's good. I mean, I do hope that there's you know, there's a day on on Good Place or something where, you know, you meet a older, because at this point we're all the same age on that show, but that we meet an older one and we do
Like a manipur.
Oh, that'd be cool.
just and not mention
And not
it,
mention it,
just do
yeah.
it, and then that's it.
Let the world.
Let the world
Yeah.
know that that's like part of their,
Yeah.
like, you know,
It's their thing.
that's just their thing. Yeah.
They might think it's another like crazy handshake.
Maybe.
But it's not.
We almost put it in the handshake, but we're equals to each other, so it would have been weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you push for that? Like, what's the mechanisms to push for something like that?
to the writers.
For that,
he'll get on the writing
well,
staff.
no, you know, it's just one of those things where you don't push it and you don't put it in the script, but just like if there is a grandfather that's in a
do it.
scene, you just do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That'd be
just like that
awesome. Oh
type
my
of
God.
thing
That'd be
where you
awesome.
just like, you know, and they were like, oh, what's that thing? It's just like, oh, well, that's just something I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people don't question it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because you're taking ownership.
Yeah.
Like, this is it's based on reality.
Yeah, if we're basing this on my background
Right.
or the fact that I'm Filipino, there's a chance I would do this.
Yeah.
So can I do it? And I think that's, you know, hopefully a lot of it, you know? And I think, and people want that kind of specific stuff.
Yeah, because it's
They eat it up.
not made up. It's like
Yeah.
it's real. Like if I were to see that on TV, I'd be like, oh hey, I did that with my grandparents.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that makes sense.
I mean, one thing that I've tried to do it in the last couple of, and this is not really Filipino specific, but just in life. But anytime that I'm in a scene where there's food and everybody's getting up, I ask to, can I wrap some of this? Can I take some of it home? And it never gets to that point in the scene. But I'm just like, oh man, I wish I could say like, let me like, can I take this with me? Because that's what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just everybody would just get up from a table and not clean the table or you know.
You want to make the plate
Yeah.
foil sandwich.
Yes.
That's what you want to do.
That's what I
right?
want to do. Yeah,
Or bring your own Tupperware already.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
like plate foil. No.
that's true. That works. So aside from kind of the mainstream, you know, Hollywood flicks or Hollywood TV shows that you try to do, you also do kind of shorts.
Yeah.
You know, with Bernard.
Yep,
And
yep.
you're also doing one with Tess Paras.
Yes.
Called The Patience. How did you get involved with those projects?
The first one was just Bernard. Just, you know, he just likes to shoot stuff, and I was in his his grad film. So we had met a couple of years prior, and he wanted to just work on something new, and you know, we were just having lunch and had the idea to do a funny version. Because again, it was one of those things where it's just like wanting to show how this is funny, but make the comedy not necessarily so just, you know, throwing Filipino stuff in there. And
It was sorry, what was the name of the film?
Aswang.
Aswang.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just a guy who walks up to his neighbors and tells them that he, you know, because she's pregnant, that there's a chance that he might eat their baby. And so I like ring the doorbell and I'm just like, hey, I know, congratulations. Hey, I just got to let you know, there's a chance I might be an Aswang and I might eat your baby. I mean, there's 100% chance. So do me a favor and just like stay inside, blah, blah, blah. There's other pregnant women on the block. So I'm trying to warn everybody because I want to be a good neighbor. And blah, blah, blah. So that's like the whole short, So then it's just like,
That's so cool.
a neighbor thinking another neighbor is crazy.
Yeah.
Like type thing. And that's where we're trying to base all the comedy. But then it's just like, oh, here's the specifics of this. I might have many tongues that wrap around, go through their stomach. And, there's a chance I might turn into a dog or other animals or whatever. Or that my bottom half will detach. Like that kind of stuff. Like just all of the...
And you say it like matter of factly.
Yeah. Just say it matter of factly and just like talking to this lady and she's just like, you're crazy. Leave me alone. And that's like the whole thing. And that's like, we're trying to make it like funny and fun enough that like you can enjoy just like the comedy of it. But then if you were also Filipino, that you'd get like the smaller stuff.
Yeah.
And like that's ultimately what I'd love to keep doing is like, again, like having a scene where, everybody, like there's a scene at dinner, but then there is also a whole scene right after dinner of everybody putting their plates together, for the people that weren't there or the one that has to go,
Or the person who has to leave early to like go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The person who has to go because they're working, the night shift.
Night shift. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's, it's time and a half because it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So they're going to work like that kind of stuff that like you just want to, as part of your family and you just want it to be part of like the regular lexicon of stuff. Yeah.
I can't really know. I don't know where in the timeline this is for your career, but like I remember, I think the first time I ever saw you was in this like TED Talk.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a TED Talk.
Yeah, it was a fake TED Talk. Yeah,
and
but I did it at the...
You did it at TED.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So there's this guy named Charlie Todd who is a UCB guy from New York who started this thing called Improv Everywhere. And he was known for doing like these kind of huge pranks. And the TED conference hired him to do a prank there, I believe. So he said that the prank would be that they'd give him time. Like they would, like that there'd be somebody that named Colin Robertson that would start a thing, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't work, and then it would just be this weird show that would happen in
like
the
the
middle.
beach ball, the ball of death on the apple symbol.
So I had to spend the whole day as though I was an actual
like a TED Talk person.
TED Talk guy. And, like all of these guys were around me, and talking about what they were going to talk about, and the three people ahead of me were doing these real talks, and I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing?
What a setup, right?
And I was right in the middle.
room.
Yeah. And there was literally, like, when the thing didn't work, you can, because everybody was like these techie people.
Yeah.
You can hear this audible, like, oh no, it's happening to them. Because they feel the same pain, and it was like sad.
That's
Everybody
the
was,
rep sweats.
yeah.
The rep
Oh
sweats.
man, they were like, I can't imagine. And people were looking back at the booth, and there were people getting up to go in the booth
like, help.
to help out. It was just, it
I'm
was
totally one of those
amazing.
guys. It's like, I
Yeah.
can fix it.
Yeah. So there was a lot of that. So that was a while. Like that was when I first moved to LA. I think.
Oh.
Yeah, it was one of those.
That video is still up, right?
Yeah, I think
I'll
so.
put that in the blog post.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Nice.
It's pretty neat. Oh, and the I think you can watch the whole short film, the whole Aswang thing online now.
That's how I saw
Oh,
it.
cool.
I saw it on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And The Patience
Yes.
with Tess Parra's short film.
Yeah. I got into that from Tess. She just asked me if I would be interested and available to do her film, and she told me what the premise was and gave me the script and told me who else was involved, and I was 100% involved because she's great, and the people she got involved in it, and the subject matter is great. That I felt like it was really important, again, as a representation that the way that the script is written is like, yes, it's a Filipino family. The reactions are very very true to our upbringing of how people would handle it, and I think that's important.
Can you share what the story is?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that there's that Tess is going through an issue after her and her boyfriend have like a dispute that is physical, and having then her family's there at the hospital with her.
Yeah.
And it's just like the mentality of a Filipino dad in that situation, and a Filipino mom, and a brother and sister of
You play the brother, right?
Yeah, the brother who's just like, well, where's this asshole? Basically. And the dad who's like, well, we have to respect whatever, and it's just like, Dad, you're crushing us.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of that, and and the mom that doesn't want to accept the fact that this is a reality in her life. So like you hit all of those beats that are true of everybody, I'm sure, but I feel like hits us extra close to home, I guess, because it's like if you haven't experienced that, that you have, family members who would react in a certain way.
Yeah. And it's like a all-star cast of like Filipino American actors, because it's Eugene, it's John Briones, it's Tess. It's the mom from Bittermelon.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know her name, but I just
She
remember.
plays the mother in this too.
So I'm
it's
really
great.
excited to see it.
It'll be great. And it was shot really well, and a really fun, easy shoot. So, and and Tess gives a great performance in it too. That it's gonna be solid.
Super excited.
Yeah.
So we have to wrap up, unfortunately. I do have a few questions. So this is like a semi-lightning round.
Oh, done.
You could say more than one word.
Okay.
So number one, have you been to the Philippines?
Yes.
What was it like for you?
I loved it. I went when I was growing up a few times, but I haven't gone as an adult. So I would love to go again.
I thought he was going to say hot. In the traffic.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Filipino food?
I am a big. There's so many though, but
Top 5.
Jesus.
top 5.
Well,
In order.
In order. I was kidding.
I love me some lechon still.
It's like pig.
Yeah, pig.
Pig.
I mean, I'll go hard and say I'll eat dinuguan every day.
Yeah, it's so
Nice.
good.
Yeah.
Puto or rice?
Rice. Yeah.
I'm a rice guy.
Dry
I'm a
or
rice
soupy?
guy. Well, soupy if the rice is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll eat anything in a bowl.
Same.
Yeah.
What's your dream role?
I think. Oh, I don't know. I don't think there is one. I think
A dream
just
role.
to keep working. I think a dream role for me would be to like create something that is like true to my life, but also funny enough that everybody loves it, and kind of like be in our Atlanta, if that makes sense.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
That'd be cool.
Whatever that is, whoever makes it, if I have to make it myself or somebody else smarter than me does it, and I just get to be in it, I'll be happy.
Put a basement in it.
Yeah, there'll be a basement in it, and then there'll be a bunch of LA kids in it going like, "What is this?" A whole episode about what is this?
That really could be.
And then you open up a room and it's just a bunch of young dudes watching porn. But not like real porn, like Showtime porn.
What is the Dumbbells podcast about?
It's about health and fitness, but it's mainly about like
Not for me.
yeah,
Kidding.
no, it is. It's hitting a lot of like health and fitness stuff for people who are not into health and fitness.
Nice.
So it is perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, it's like
Me too.
It's a lot of the time. It's just like comedians and people just joking around and having fun, going like, "I should eat better. How can I do it?" But it's not like a podcast where you can listen to health and fitness podcasts and it feels like it's
It's a formula.
Yeah, it's a formula, and it also feels like somebody's yelling at you because
Yeah.
you haven't been doing this.
Yeah.
And this is more of a discussion of like, hey, what do you do to stay in shape, or what do you want to do to get in shape, or what got you out of shape, or like there's we have episodes where somebody just had a kid recently, so it's been hard for them to start and they put on weight. Or
I mean, we're all shapes.
yeah.
Round is a shape.
Yeah.
Round is a very nice looking shape.
Yeah. And it's trying to find out ways to like eat healthy, but still, and like especially in the craze now of like eating low carb, of going like, well,
Everyone's keto.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing intermittent fasting.
So you got to figure out how you can still get rice in there. That's my whole thing. Is I'm like, well, then how do I keep the white rice in there? So that's my.
And they tell you
thing.
you can't.
Yeah, I go like, okay, but I'm gonna do it and be happy with it. Yeah.
Finally, any advice for aspiring Filipino American actors?
Yeah. My advice is focus on just being an actor first, and trust that you are Filipino American.
Right. That's cool.
After that, and then use your experience to help you become a better actor, but don't use your upbringing as a hindrance to what you can do.
Where can people find you on the socials?
You can find me on social media at I think Eugene Cordero, EUGCORDERO, and that's on like Instagram and Twitter and stuff. But I only follow my wife on Twitter. I went like
You cleaned house?
I think I went Jay-Z style or something. I think or Kanye does that. He only follows Kim or something.
And what should people watch, or any projects coming up?
Oh, yeah. So Black Monday is out now. That's the Showtime show with Don Cheadle and Regina Hall and Andrew Reynolds. That's currently on Showtime. And then in the spring, in March, late March, Tacoma FD is going to be on True TV, and that's the show that I'm a regular on.
Cool.
That was with the Super Troopers guys. So
That's
it's
so
nice.
cool.
it's basically Super Troopers
As a fire department?
fire department in Tacoma, Washington, the wettest city in America. So it's like they don't fight very many fires. So we're just hanging out, and it was my favorite thing I've shot, I think, to date.
So there's a lot of gallivanting.
Oh my! It's all it is. Yeah, with
In
a B.
basements?
With a B.
Bunting.
Yeah, gallivanting. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Of course.
This has been really awesome.
Loved it.
Ryan's looking at his alternate universe life.
Seriously.
But yeah.
If only you booked that one commercial.
Orange juice.
See,
Yeah.
should listen to your mom next time.
I have a random request because
Yeah.
this is going to happen in February. If Pillboi were to give a shout out Valentine to someone, what would that sound like?
How would Pillboi do it?
Yeah.
He'd probably go, let's fill it with love then, okay? Yeah. Oh, love. Cool. Amen? Question? That'd be the whole thing. It would never be the
never
one
end.
person. Yeah. And he would just keep wondering if it's okay and who it's to.
Yeah. So if you out there really love Pillboi, that Valentine was just for you.
Yeah, that was just for you.
Specifically just for you.
Because it's for everybody and nobody at the same time.
Exactly.
Cool. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, you
Appreciate
got
it.
it.
This Filipino American Life is produced by Michael Nailat. Our intro and outro music is by Roger Habon, aka 10.4 Raj. Resident reality checker Girly Colado, legal advisor Rianne Fajardo, and graphic design by Vincent Collyer.